Good morning. We're now on the video record. Today's Wednesday, the 11th day of October, 2017. The time is 8 minutes after 10 a.m. We are here at the Miami-Dade County Courthouse, 73 West Flagler Street, 20th floor, Miami, Florida, 33130, for the purpose of taking the videotape deposition of, you are Mr.
Alejandro Murguido.
Alejandro Murguido, taken by the plaintiff in the matter of Dr. McDonough versus Murguido and Gomez, case number 15-08342 CA08, which is filed in the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County, Florida. Court reporters Beverly Rabati of Sylvia Evans Court reporting. The videographer Aurelia Roman of Night Vision Video. Would all counselors please state your appearance for the record?
Alan Greenstein on behalf of Dr. Eric McDonough.
Eric Stetton for Officer Murguido.
John J. Bro for Officer Louis Gomez.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear affirm that testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, why don't you tell me your name and occupation for the record?
My name is Alejandro Murguido. I work as a police officer.
And for what department?
City of Homestead.
All right, and how long have you been how long have you been working for the City of Homestead?
Approximately 14 years.
And what's your current assignment with the City of Homestead?
Traffic unit.
How long have you been in traffic? Approximately.
12 years.
Okay. We'll get into a little bit more of that. What is your present address, sir?
Objection. There's an exemption in Chapter 119 for law enforcement officers, and he's not going to give his home address, his home phone number, his social security number, or anything like that.
Okay, for the record, I don't want his social security number, I don't want his phone number, I wasn't going to ask that, but I think in this particular case his address is relevant.
We object.
I understand.
We object and move for protective order.
All right, we'll just certify the question, that's fine. Whatever address you live at, how long have you lived at that address?
About 6 or 7 years.
Okay. Now this is 2017, so you're talking about 2010, 2011 in that neighborhood, is that what you're saying? Just over?
Approximately.
Okay. Do you own that residence or do you rent it?
I rent it.
Okay. Who do you rent it from?
My mother-in-law.
Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. And are you presently living with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. Back at the date of these incidents, which would be from July of 12 through April of 13 or 14, were you living with your wife at that address?
Yes.
Okay. Who else, during that period of time, who else lived at that address?
My 2 daughters.
Okay. Were they witnesses to anything that occurred as a result of this lawsuit?
No.
To your recollection? Okay. What about your son? I forgot his name, I apologize.
Alejandro Murguido.
Right. Was he living with you at that time?
No.
Before you worked for the City of Homestead, well, first of all, how long have you been a police officer? Again, approximately.
About 22, 23 years approximately.
Okay. And what was the first department you worked for?
I worked for the Department of Corrections.
Okay. Dade County or the state?
State.
And how long did you work for the Department of Corrections?
I don't recall.
Okay. Where did you work after that?
The Broward County Sheriff's Office.
And what were your duties while you worked for BSO?
I was a detention deputy.
I'm sorry?
Detention deputy.
Oh, what is a detention deputy?
Works at the jail.
Okay. And how long did you work for BSO?
I don't recall.
Who did you work for after that?
City of West Miami Police Department.
All right. Do you remember approximately when you started working for the City of West Miami?
I don't recall.
Okay. What were your duties with the city of West Miami?
I worked as a police officer.
Okay. Did you work in any specialized unit? Were you a traffic officer? Did you do other things?
No.
Just traffic?
Regular patrol officer.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I presume you've given a deposition before. No?
Not in a civil case, no.
I'm sorry?
Not in a civil case.
Oh, no, but in a criminal case, I presume you've given depositions.
Yes,
Okay. So you know how deposition goes?
more or less.
Okay. Mr. Stetton is here, your attorney. Please feel free to ask him anything you want during the course of the deposition, okay? And if we need to take a break, please feel free to do that. You're not strapped to the chair, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, there's happens to be a restroom right here.
I appreciate that.
Okay? All right. The other thing is, if I ask you a question that you don't understand, please ask me to repeat it, okay? I'll presume if you answer my question, you've understood my question, because I guarantee if I don't understand your answer, I will be asking you, okay?
Yes.
Okay. How long did you work for the city of West Miami?
I would say
Again, about.
2 years.
Okay. And where did you work after the city of West Miami?
City of Hialeah.
And what were you doing? I presume you were a police officer also, right?
I was a police officer, yes.
And what kind of duties did you have as a police officer with the city of Hialeah?
I was a patrol officer for a while, and then I was a traffic officer.
Just real briefly, what's the difference between a patrol officer and being a traffic officer?
Patrol officers handle complaints from callers on the streets other than traffic.
Okay.
Traffic officers handle disabled vehicles, improperly parked vehicles, traffic-related accidents,
Okay.
speeding vehicles,
Right,
reckless
issuing
drivers.
traffic citations?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And how long did you work for the city of Hialeah? Again, approximately.
I don't recall.
Okay. Where did you work after the city of Hialeah?
City of Homestead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's
No.
okay.
Grand Bay Towers.
What is Grand Bay Towers?
It is a condominium association in Key Biscayne.
Okay. So you left police work for a little while?
Yes.
Okay. And what were your duties with Grand Bay Towers?
I was security director, assistant manager.
How long did you work there? Again, approximately, if you know.
I don't recall.
All right. Where did you work after Grand Bay?
The beautiful city of Homestead.
Excellent. All right. And we've already sort of established you've been working there 6 or 7 years.
In Homestead?
Yeah. Isn't that what you said, or did I
No.
misunderstand? 12 years?
I'm going on my 14th year.
Or 14th year? I
Yes.
apologize to you.
That's okay.
6 or 7 years was where you lived. Okay. Other than a traffic officer, what other duties have you had with the city of Homestead?
Patrol.
Patrol? During any of your duties as a police officer, were you ever disciplined by any of these departments?
Yes.
Do you recall which ones you were disciplined by?
Yes.
Can you tell me?
The City of Hialeah Police Department.
Okay. And why were you disciplined by the city of Hialeah?
I don't recall. I'd have to look at the papers.
All right. What was the result of your discipline?
They were various suspensions.
I'm sorry?
Suspensions, 4-hour suspensions,
Okay.
as far as I can recall.
All right. You used plural. Did you mean plural suspensions or one suspension?
No, plural.
Okay. How many suspensions did you have?
I don't recall.
More than 2 or 3?
I don't recall. A long time ago.
I understand. Do you recall what the suspensions were for?
Yes.
Can you tell me?
Violation of policies and procedures.
Okay. Do you recall what policy and procedures you violated or allegedly violated?
Not specifically, no.
You don't recall that?
Not specifically, no.
How about generally?
No, I don't recall.
Were you ever accused of falsifying any documents when you were with the city of Hialeah?
Objection to the form.
You can answer.
I don't recall.
Were you accused of making a false statement while you worked for the city of Hialeah?
Objection to form.
I don't recall.
Were you disciplined by any other police departments other than the city of Hialeah? Tell you what, let me be specific. Were you ever disciplined when you worked for the BSO?
Not that I can recall.
How about for the city of West Miami?
Not that I can recall.
You discussed the city of Hialeah. How about the city of Homestead?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that? How many times have you been disciplined?
I have received, to the best of my recollection, 2 verbal warnings.
Okay. And when you say verbal warnings, what are those? You're just told something? How does that work?
My immediate supervisor calls me to the office, discusses an issue with me, whatever it may be, and tells me not to do it again.
Okay. So other than a warning, you didn't receive any discipline, like suspensions or loss of pay or anything like that? That's what you're saying?
In the city of Homestead, no.
Right. Okay. When you were disciplined in the city of Hialeah, did you lose pay as a result of those suspensions? Is that the way it works?
I don't recall the exact events from 19 years ago, or whatever the time may be, but I can tell you, usually how it works with Hialeah, at the time, you could change hours for the suspension.
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Let's say you had, an example, a 10-hour suspension. You could give them 10 hours of your vacation, or sick leave, or whatever hours you had accumulated.
All right. Do you know if you did that with the city of Hialeah for your suspensions?
Yes.
All of them?
I don't recall.
Do you recall if you lost any pay as a result of any of the suspensions with the city of Hialeah?
I don't recall.
All right. When was the last verbal warning with the city of Homestead, do you recall? This being 2017?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall what it was about?
I recall one, more or less.
Okay, tell me the one you recall.
The whole event?
Well, just in general, what did they say you did and what was the warning?
Oh, actually, I did what they said I did.
What?
Actually, I did what they said I did.
What did they say? What did you do?
Well, we're conducting a felony traffic stop on some robbers on Chrome Avenue, and a driver proceeded to drive through the felony stop. So for her safety, I pulled her over and tried to tell her, we have a felony stop, guns drawn, and you're driving through. But she complained because I wrote her a ticket because she wasn't understanding what I was trying to explain for her safety.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote her a ticket, and she was upset. I don't recall.
I mean, for the moving violation or for something else?
No, it was a moving violation.
Okay.
I don't recall what the state statute was.
So what was wrong with that? Or what did your supervisors think was wrong with that?
My supervisor didn't think anything was wrong with that,
Okay.
but others did.
All right. Well, what did the others think was wrong with that?
They never told me
Well, when you said you received a verbal warning.
from my supervisor.
Right. Well, what did he tell you not to do again? Or to do again as a result of that?
To be more careful.
Okay. And not issue a ticket, be nicer? I mean,
They would never tell me not to issue a ticket, just
No,
to
I
be
understand.
careful because the residents in Homestead that really live in the city of Homestead that I patrol, they've been there for a long time. So we have a special place for them in the police department. And she was a long-time resident, so that's the way they elected to do it.
okay. Now, obviously, I presume when you stopped her, you didn't know she was a longtime resident, right?
I did not.
Okay.
I thought I was trying to save her life.
Okay.
Shooting started.
All right. Do you recall that's one verbal warning. Do you remember what the other verbal warning was about?
I don't recall.
So you've not received any other types of discipline from the city of Homestead as a police officer?
No.
Okay. Now, obviously, you know my client, Dr. McDonough, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall when you first met him? Or under what circumstances you first met him?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall the date?
No.
Okay. Do you recall about when it was?
No.
All right. Can you tell me what interaction you had with him that first occasion?
Yes.
Please tell me.
I arrived at my home from my work in a unmarked white police car that I was driving at the time. And as I'm getting off my vehicle in my driveway.
Excuse me. That's the same residence you live at now?
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed that there is a car blocking my car on the street facing eastbound.
Let me ask you a question. The car is on the street? When you say blocking your car, what do you mean?
Well, if there's a car even on the roadway in your driveway, or like a garbage truck, for example, you can't back out. You can't leave. You're not free to go. You have to wait till the truck or vehicle moves.
No, I understand that. So it was blocking your way into your driveway?
I couldn't back out.
Okay.
I had parked in the driveway.
Got it.
And he was on the street blocking my
I understand.
way.
Okay, go ahead.
I got out of the vehicle, and I realized there was somebody there. So I thought it was somebody asking directions or something like that. A neighbor, I didn't know. So if I recall correctly, the driver called me over to the car. And told me that he was behind me on Murray Drive, which is 320th Street, and that I had thrown a piece of paper outside the window of the car. I noticed that he was arrayed, upset. So I told him that I was sorry, that I drive with the windows down. This is an old car, the AC doesn't work that good, and I apologized. It didn't work. The gentleman kept aggressively telling me that some other time I had ran him off the road. So I'm like, when? Why didn't you tell me then? He was aggressive talking to me. I apologized again.
When you say aggressive, what do you mean?
In a firm tone, a little bit louder than normal, more than how we're speaking now.
Okay.
What I would consider civilized for people. And all I did was apologize, said I was sorry. Then he said that it wasn't right because I had given his wife a ticket for whatever reason, and that it wasn't fair, I recall correctly. So at this time I noticed that I wasn't going to get anywhere with my apologies, which I apologized several times. So I asked him to leave, give him my name, if I recall correctly, my badge number, and directed him to the City of Homestead Police to file a complaint. He didn't leave, kept talking. I stood up by this time, I don't know what he was saying. And I finally saw that I couldn't get to him, reason with him, so whatever, I went back in my house.
Okay. I presume he eventually left?
I looked out the window and after, he did leave, sure.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of car it was?
I don't recall.
Do you remember the color of the car?
I don't recall.
Did you, was it a 2-door or a 4-door? Do you remember anything like that?
I don't recall.
Was there anyone else in his car that you saw?
I don't think so.
Okay. Did you report this to anybody at that time? When I say anybody, I mean your supervisor, the police, any police agency, anything like that?
Objection to the form.
You can answer.
Not at that time.
Okay. Why?
I didn't make anything of it. I was tired after working 10 hours a day, or as long as I worked, and I wanted to get home and be with my dogs.
Okay. When was the next time you saw Dr. McDonough? Or had contact with him, saw?
If you want to go back to the reporting thing, I did report it
Eventually?
the next day.
Okay. I just asked you that. Or maybe it was my bad question. I'm sorry.
Maybe I misunderstood.
That's okay.
Your
Apologize.
question was at that time.
You're right. That's fair enough. Okay.
The next day I did,
Who did you report it to the next
to my
day?
supervisor,
Okay. And who was your supervisor at the time?
Sergeant Thomas Sermon.
Herman?
Sermon, S-U-R-M-A-N.
Got it. And how did you do that? Did you do it personally, call him up, email? How did that work?
Excuse me.
Sure.
I went up to his office and informed him of the incident.
All right. What did Sergeant Sermon say as a result of that, or did he say anything?
Yes. He told me to write a report.
Did you write a report
Yes.
that same day or another day?
The following day.
What kind of report was it? I presume it was an offense incident report. Is there a title to the type of report it was?
Normally those reports would be an information report.
Okay. And what happens to that report?
I submit it. I guess I would assume it goes to records.
So it would be called an information report? Is that the technical term?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
After you submitted the report, did anyone else from the police department talk to you about this incident? In other words, you submit the report, did someone come and contact you again after that about this report? At any time?
No.
As far as you know, was anything done by the Homestead Police Department as a result of you writing this report?
I don't know. I would say no.
All right. How about as a result of, did Miami-Dade, do you live in the city of Homestead or unincorporated Dade County?
Unincorporated.
Okay. So did Miami-Dade County, the police, do anything as a result of you filing that report on this particular incident?
As far as I know, no.
Okay. When was the next contact you had with Dr. McDonough, if you recall?
I don't recall the exact date.
Is that the date he ended up being detained by you and other officers? Is that the date we're talking about?
Objection to the floor.
You can answer.
He wasn't detained.
Okay. Well, tell me about that incident then.
Okay. I was in my garage working on something. I go to the front lawn to speak to my gentleman that I just hired to do my lawn. And my son was there for whatever reason. When I hear whistling, like somebody's whistling at me. I didn't know it was at me, I just heard whistling.
Okay.
So I was from the left side of my house, which would be the west side.
So your house faces south?
My house faces north,
North.
then the east is the right side, west is the
I have it back.
left side.
Yes, okay.
And honestly, I ignored him, or ignored the whistling.
Okay.
See, last time I checked, I'm not a dog, so I don't answer the whistles. After a few minutes, or after some time, I did look back, and I noticed a man standing on the side of the street.
About where did you first notice him? Where was he in relation to your residence?
I would say about 5 feet from my driveway at that time.
On the street?
At that time, yes.
Okay.
And he,
Oh, is that, that's Gomez?
yes. And he was irate. He,
When you say he, I presume we're talking about Dr. McDonough. My client?
Mr. McDonough, yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
And so I didn't know who he was at the time. I didn't remember his face, or I didn't remember him.
Can I ask you something? How long was it from the time of that first incident to this second incident? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I'd have to see some sort of paper.
All right, we'll talk about that. All right, go ahead. I just want to know what you know right now. Okay, go ahead.
Count of dates is 5 years ago. It's
I perfectly understand that.
not as young as I used to be, so I apologize for that.
Either am I, so that's all right.
Where were we? Okay.
You were telling me he was irate or something.
Got it.
Okay.
So I walked over to my driveway, and he comes over, and he's yelling at me that he told me that he had been following me around, and that he saw me running stop signs, speeding, and in the city.
Okay, when you say yelling, what do you mean by yelling?
This is speaking as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
When your voice is at a high pitch and you are irate, I mean, I'm sure you've gotten irate at some point in your life.
Never.
Wow, I congratulate you. But that's what I consider yelling.
Okay.
When you're above the normal tone, and people that live across the street are hearing you because you're screaming.
Okay.
That's what I consider screaming.
All right.
And so I didn't walk towards him. He walked towards me about 2 feet of my driveway. I was like towards the beginning.
You said 2 feet on your driveway? Is that
Yes,
what you said? Okay.
about approximately 2
Okay.
feet or so. So I stayed towards the back. I was concerned for my safety, seeing somebody coming to my home like that. I rage because I'm speeding and running stop signs in the city. So in between, I was able to ask him, was I in a police car when you witnessed me doing that? He said yes. So I said, well, under certain conditions, I am allowed to do that. He didn't agree. He didn't think so.
What conditions are you allowed to do that?
Under emergency conditions where I am dispatched on a code,
And I would presume you'd have your
I'm
lights
required by our SOPs on a code 2 or a code 3 to have my lights and sirens on.
All right, code 2 and code 3 are Greek to me.
Code 2 would be, for example, somebody arguing, a shoplifter arguing with the security at the store.
Okay.
That would be normally a 2.
Okay, what would be a 3?
3 would be an accident with injuries, robbery in progress, or burglary in progress.
I presume if you're responding to something not a code 2 or 3, are you allowed to have your lights on?
No.
Are you allowed to run stop signs or speed under those circumstances?
No.
When it's not a code 2 or 3?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's
Please go
okay.
ahead.
So again, I told him, I'm allowed to do that. He said that I was not. I said, but I'm in a police car. He said he didn't care, that I'm not allowed to do that. So this time I asked him to leave. Let's go, leave me alone. And he refused, stayed there. The same thing about my speeding and my driving habits. And his neighborhood. But again, I thought he lived in my neighborhood.
What made you think that?
Because he came to my home, so maybe some neighbor was concerned about
Okay.
something, but he doesn't live in my neighborhood.
All right. When you saw him that day, did you recognize him from that other occasion?
No.
Now you do recognize him as from that other occasion, though.
Right now?
In other words, yeah, you told me you first met him at that first occasion, whatever date it was. And now
Yes.
this is sometime later.
Yes.
Now you're telling me you do remember him from that first occasion. That's what I'm getting at.
After he left,
Uh-huh.
I remember him from
Okay.
the first occasion.
All right, got it.
So I kept yelling at him to leave me alone, whatever. He started walking eastbound on 324th Street, towards the right of my house.
Got it.
I go back to speaking to the lawn person, and it hit me that this was the same person that had previously come to my home, and in essence threatened me and harassed me. So
Let me stop you.
Let him finish his answer.
All right, finish the answer.
So I get in the only thing that was available at that time, I recall correctly, was the police car, the white car, an old car. Got in my car and I wasn't in uniform. I didn't have a weapon.
You were not in uniform?
No.
Okay, I didn't hear you say.
Did not have a weapon. I don't have any weapons in my car or on me. And by the time I reached McDonough, he was on the east side of 202 Avenue, which is his neighborhood.
How far away is that from about how many houses?
I would say about half a block, three-quarters of a block, about 3 houses.
Okay.
So I exited my car through the driver's side. He was on the front of the car, the right side. And I told him, I said, I remember who you are. You came to my house before to harass me and threaten me. And you need to stop doing this.
Now, I do need to stop you at this point.
Sure.
Okay. Going back to the conversation, you've described to me what Dr. McDonough told you.
Yes.
Is there anything else you recall that he told you other than what you've just told me?
Yes. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead of things because I keep trying
Right, I
to-
know, that's why I'm going back.
Yes, he said that along the lines where he was yelling at me, that he was, when he said I couldn't do that, he said that he was going to get me and that I would see.
Are those, first of all, do you recall those being the exact words, he's going to get you?
Yes.
Okay. Did he say what he meant by that?
No.
Did you ask him what he meant by that?
No. By this point, I just wanted him to leave,
Okay.
especially after he threatened me.
Okay. Did he say anything else that you recall, other than what we've already discussed?
He kept yelling at me because of my driving habits in my neighborhood.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I can recall
Okay.
for now.
Now, we were back at the place where you drove your car, and I think you encountered Dr. McDonough again.
Yes.
Okay, tell me what happened there.
Like I said, he was on the east side of 202 Avenue. The east side would be across the street from my neighborhood, going into his neighborhood, which is different than my neighborhood. And he was on the right side of the roadway. There is no sidewalk there, just a grassy area. So I said, got out of my car through the driver's side, standing on the driver's side of my car, and I told him, I remember who you are. You came to my house before, you threatened and harassed me, and you need to stop doing this. I told him that if he had an issue with me, that he should go to Internal Affairs and file a complaint. I then asked him, I said, I need you to wait here, because I'm calling the police.
Okay. Did you call the police?
Yes, as I was approaching him, if I recall correctly, I got on my police radio and notified the dispatcher,
Is that the Homestead dispatcher?
the Homestead dispatcher, yes.
Why would you call Homestead if it occurred in this unincorporated Dade County?
Exigent circumstances.
Okay.
Exigent circumstances.
Okay. Does Homestead have jurisdiction over that area under those circumstances?
No.
Objection to the form.
You can answer.
No.
Then maybe I'm missing something. Why would you call, what exigent circumstances would then allow the city of Homestead to respond as opposed to Miami-Dade?
Objection to the form.
They responded to assist me and make sure that I was safe, because I called them because I was in fear of McDonough, and for my safety, the closest police department to my home would be the city of Homestead. So
Okay.
I had them
You
send
mean there's no
somebody.
I don't know the area, so there's no Miami-Dade Police Department closer to you than the city of Homestead?
No, sir. No.
Okay.
They're like on 211th Street.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, it's far.
Okay. When you called the dispatcher, what did you tell them?
If I recall correctly, I mentioned that the person that had come to my house before was there again threatening me. If I recall correctly, that's something to those lines. And I asked them to send a supervisor.
Does the dispatcher respond in any way to you, to your call? In other words, did they say, I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it? What do they say?
They do what I ask them.
Okay. Did someone respond from the city of Homestead?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, how long did it take them to respond? About?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, when you said to Dr. McDonough, don't move, don't leave, something like that,
No.
what did you say?
I told them, wait here, I called the police.
Okay. Did he stay there?
He said yes.
Okay.
Or okay, or something.
I'm sorry?
Yes, or okay.
Okay. But he did stay there, he didn't leave.
Yes.
How did someone call the Miami-Dade Police Department, to your knowledge?
Yes.
Do you know who it was?
No.
Did they arrive, did they come to the scene?
Yes.
Did they come before or after the city of Homestead?
After.
All right. First of all, do you recall who responded from the city of Homestead?
I recall one of the officers.
Who was that?
The lieutenant, the chief lieutenant, Alex Villegas.
Does he still work for the city of Homestead?
He works for the Miami-Dade.
Okay. Then he worked for Homestead?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, that's what I asked you.
From Homestead who responded?
Right, who responded from Homestead, I'm sorry.
Okay. The acting supervisor,
And who was that?
Officer Snyder.
Does he still work for the city of Homestead? As far as you know, if you know.
Oh, I know. He's luckily, happily retired in Tennessee.
Okay. Do you recall the names of any other Homestead officers that have responded?
I don't recall.
How many Homestead officers responded? Approximately.
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you know any other Miami-Dade officers that responded other than Villegas?
One other officer. I don't know who he is, but there was another officer.
All right. So as far as you recall, 2 Miami-Dade officers responded?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
All right. Do you know how long it took for Miami-Dade to come to the scene?
No.
And during... So tell me what happened first when the city of Homestead came.
They just stood by there with me for my
Okay.
safety.
Okay. Did they talk to Dr. McDonough?
I don't think
That you
so.
recall?
I don't think so.
Did they talk to you about what happened? Do you recall?
I told Snyder.
Okay. Do you recall how long after the Homestead officers arrived, Miami-Dade arrived?
Well, prior to Miami-Dade or county, my neighbor, Deputy Gomez, arrived.
The gentleman who's here?
Yes.
Okay. Now, he doesn't work, he works for Monroe County, right? Or worked for Monroe County at the time?
Yes.
Okay. Where did he respond to where you and Dr. McDonough were?
Yes, to the on the side of the road. Yes.
All right. Do you know why he or how he knew to come over?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you tell him what had happened?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so.
What did, is it officer or detective? I'm sorry.
Deputy.
Deputy. What did Deputy Gomez do, other than just stand there?
Stood there for my safety.
Okay. All right.
Did what he was supposed to do.
All right. Getting back, do you recall how long it was after Gomez and the Hialeah police came that the county officers came?
Hialeah police never came.
I'm sorry, Homestead, I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm getting old too.
I understand. I don't recall.
Okay. What did Villegas do when he got there?
He spoke to the officer that was there,
Mhm.
and I believe to
Officer, which one? I'm sorry.
the officer that went to answer the call. The officer that was dispatched.
Oh, do you know who that was?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
He spoke to him, and he spoke to McDonough.
Okay. Do you know what McDonough told him?
No.
Were you within earshot of it?
No.
Were you ever told what McDonough told him?
I don't recall.
All right. Do you know if a report was written
Yes.
by Miami-Dade?
Yes.
Was a report written by Homestead?
I don't know.
Did you ever read the reports?
The one for the county, yes.
Okay,
As a matter of fact, now that I recall, Officer Snyder wrote a report, yes.
all right. When you read the reports, do you recall there being anything inaccurate about the reports or incomplete about? Well, we'll start with inaccurate.
Objection to form.
You can answer.
Well, the reports, the paperwork in general, had the generality of the events, but some of the documentation wasn't properly documented.
What do you mean by that?
Things that I said they didn't write down, or the dates they made errors in.
I'm sorry.
Or the dates, yes.
Okay. The dates may have been incorrect, is that what you're saying?
Well, not that the dates were incorrect, that they might have wrote it incorrectly.
Okay.
Or documented it
Got it.
incorrectly,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Do you recall specifically what was incorrect? Or things that-
Not at this moment, no.
Okay. Okay. Do you know how long the police were there with Dr. McDonough?
I don't recall the exact amount of minutes, but it wasn't long.
Was Dr. McDonough arrested? That you
At
saw?
that time?
At that time? Yeah.
No.
Okay. How long from the time that you pulled up and asked Dr. McDonough to wait till he was allowed to leave? Do you know how long that was?
I don't recall. He was always allowed to leave. He was never told not to leave. I asked him to wait. He said, okay. He was never, he could have left. He could have walked away.
All right. So you phrased it like, please wait, or did you say wait?
I said, well, I didn't say please.
Okay.
I was a little bit upset.
Okay.
He was free to go.
Did you tell him that?
No.
Do you know how he would know he was free to leave if you told him to wait?
Objection to the form.
Do you understand my question?
I sort of understand it, but most people that I encounter that don't want to speak to the police walk away. And if you can't hold them, you're free to go.
No, I understand that. You told him to wait.
I asked him to wait.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Did you say, please wait, or did you say
I didn't
wait?
say I didn't say please, the word please. I said, wait here, I called the police.
Okay. What in that made you believe that someone who was told that would be free to leave?
Objection to the form.
You can answer that.
Well, he wasn't in the backseat of a police car. He wasn't next to a police officer. He wasn't handcuffed in any way, shape, or form. There were no weapons involved. He was on the right side of the front of my car. I was by the door of my driver's side at all times. Never approached each other. If anybody should have been scared that day, it would have been me of him, because I didn't have a weapon with me.
Okay.
And if he keeps laughing, I'm going to walk away and you can take me to a judge, because this isn't funny to me.
Okay. Fair enough.
So
I didn't see that.
he's
but-
been laughing
you
for
did
the
well,
past 5
obviously.
minutes, and I am offended at that. This is serious to me, and I'm not going to take it. I'll walk away, and then you can take me to the judge
Alan,
and do whatever you want to do.
I didn't see it. I was looking down, but I would
He
ask.
keeps
you to-
laughing, and I don't
to
appreciate it.
Keep your client.
This isn't funny to me.
Keep your client from smirking, laughing, smiling, anything like that with these questions.
Listen, you can leave, do whatever you want. The deposition.
Alan, I'll control it. Just control your client, and I'll control my
Fair
client.
enough.
I want to do a deposition, but I want to have the respect that I'm showing you. I think I deserve
And
it.
I'm showing you that respect.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. So this is between us right now today, okay?
Yes, sir.
If you have another complaint, you let me know, okay?
I'll
Yes,
let you
sir.
know.
One of you will let me know. All right, fair enough. Okay. Do you know if Dr. McDonough knew you were unarmed?
Objection to the form.
I don't know.
Did you tell him you were unarmed?
No. But if I recall correctly, I was in my pajamas.
Okay.
I don't usually, at that time, I didn't carry a gun in my pajamas. After that, I
I would
do.
presume you don't?
No, after that I do, but not at that time.
Okay. All right. You don't recall how long it was before Dr. McDonough left?
I'm sorry, you keep asking me the time, events, and I don't recall.
That's
It was
fine.
a while back.
No, I'm just
I
trying to
wish
catch
I
up.
wish I could tell you, but I can't tell you what I don't recall. I don't.
No, I wasn't meaning to ask you that again. That
I'm
was the
sorry,
preface to
you know.
my question.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Eventually, he left.
Yes.
All right. Where did you go after he left? Did you leave first or did he leave first?
He started walking away first.
And then what did you do?
I spoke to the lieutenant for a minute and the officer, asked me some information.
The Lieutenant Snyder?
No, Lieutenant Villegas
Oh, yeah.
and his officer from the county. I got in my car and went back home.
Okay. When was the next time you spoke to the police about either of those incidents?
Any police?
Any police?
The following day,
And who did you speak to?
I spoke to Sergeant Sermon, my supervisor.
Okay. First of all, why did you do that and what conversation did you have with him?
I went to tell him what had happened because it was a second event concerning McDonough.
Okay. What did Sermon tell you to do, if anything?
He told me, if I recall correctly, to go see Aquino.
Okay. And who is Aquino?
Aquino was the commander at that time assigned to the Internal Affairs Department or Division.
Why would Internal Affairs be involved in this? Do you know?
We are, officers or employees are supposed to report any incident and all incidents to the supervisor and to Internal Affairs because something might become of it. There might be accusations, there might be whatever they deem, but what happens to you as an officer, you have to report it.
Okay. Did Sermon ask you to write a report?
No.
Do you know why he didn't ask you to write a report on this incident when he did on the other incident?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you go speak to Aquino?
Yes.
When did you go speak to Aquino?
That very moment.
Okay. He was in his office?
If I recall correctly, I saw him in the hallway.
Okay. Tell me what your contact with Aquino was.
I informed him about the incident, who had been there, and that they had written a report. And if I recall correctly, he told me that he was going to get the paperwork and look into it, and that he would get back to me.
Did he say what paperwork he was going to get? The police reports?
The police reports.
Okay. Did he ask you to write a report? Or formalize, document this in any way?
No.
Do you know why he didn't ask you that?
No.
Did he tell you why he didn't ask you to do that?
No.
Did you ask him why you weren't asked to write a report?
Internal Affairs, you don't ask them why. They tell you.
Okay. Did Aquino ever contact you again about this?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
No.
How long after your first conversation?
Not long. Within a day or two, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Tell me what the conversation with Aquino was about.
He expressed concern for my safety and the safety of my family, being that this was the second time that McDonough had gone to my house and threatened me and harassed me. He directed me to file a report with Miami-Dade, and he told me to get an injunction.
Okay. Had you ever filed an injunction before?
No.
Okay. Did you discuss why, or did he tell you why you should do that?
I don't recall why. I think it was, like I said, he was concerned for my safety.
Okay. Now,
I believe that was it.
he said to file a report with Miami-Dade. Didn't they already take a report?
Yes.
So
but,
what would be different, in other words?
I would get a copy of that report, which, if I recall correctly, he had, and
You're talking the first report?
right,
Okay.
and go to see a detective at the Miami-Dade police station.
Now, let me just go back for a second. As part of discovery in this case, your attorney, by the way, I don't want you to tell me anything you discussed with your attorney, okay? That's not the purpose of my question, and that's perfectly between you two, so don't tell me anything like that. However, your attorney was provided with what purports to be a recording of the conversation you and he, Dr. McDonough, and you had that second occasion, along with the transcript of that. Were you ever provided that, either one?
Let me object to reference to the illegal recording. It's not admissible. And yes, he was provided a copy with me, and I'm not going to allow him to answer questions about your illegal recording.
First of all, it is not illegal, just so you know. Second of all, I'm allowed to ask him questions whether he listened to the conversation and whether or not that is his recollection of what happened, and that's my question. Are you directing him not to answer?
Depends what your question is.
That was my question.
Say it again.
The first question would be, did you listen to the recording and/or did you read the transcript first? If the answer is yes, does that coincide with your recollection of the incident?
Objection to the form. I can tell you that we did listen to the recording. And what's the second part of the question?
Is that your recollection of what happened that day? Is that an accurate reflection of what happened?
Objection, move for protective order.
What grounds?
It's an illegal recording.
It is not an
admissible.
illegal recording. Nobody's ruled on that. And I'm allowed to, whether it's admissible in evidence has nothing to do with whether it's discoverable now. And I don't think you can tell him not to answer that question.
Okay.
Is that what you're doing?
I think I made myself clear that I moved for protective order.
All right. Certify the question. All right, getting back to, all right. So, first of all, which did you do first? Aquino told you, go file a report with Miami-Dade and go file an injunction, or recommended that. Did you do either, and which one did you do first?
He didn't recommend. I doesn't recommend. Are you familiar with I?
No.
They are the, kind of what he does, but legally, they're the police officers' police. So they tell you, they don't suggest, they don't recommend, they tell you to do stuff and you do it.
I understand that. Well, two things. One, filing an injunction, you filed that as an individual, not as a police officer, right? I mean, they can't tell you go file an injunction and you have to do it if you don't want to, right?
Objection to the form.
You can answer.
Yes, I had to do it. They told me to do it.
So that's the only reason you did it, because they told you to?
Well, I was in fear for my safety from your client, and I made that clear to them, and that was a response to me, to go get an injection, or Aquino's response to me.
So you took it as a directive as opposed to a suggestion?
It was not a suggestion, sir. I doesn't suggest.
If they told you to file a lawsuit, would you do that?
If he told me, yes.
Okay. All right. So whatever I tells you to do, you would do under those circumstances?
If it is legal and part of the policies and procedures of the Homestead Police Department, yes, I would.
All right. I don't think they tell you to do anything illegal, so.
Objection to the form.
All right, anyway, so which did you do first?
I filed a report, if I recall correctly.
Do you remember when you did that?
I don't recall.
All right. Do you know how long it was after the conversation with Aquino?
I don't recall.
Okay. Let me show you, if we want to mark it for an exhibit, we can. A report dated February 15th, 2013, under police case number 13-0215-060338. I'm going to show it to you. We can have it marked.
Have it marked and
Okay.
take a look at
Have
it.
it marked. And just so you know, the addresses are blacked out there. So what I'm going to ask you to do, once it's marked, is for you and your attorney to take a look at it, okay?
Yes.
Let me look first.
Yes.
Can you finish looking at it, and I
Sure. Let me get my copy.
Yeah, what,
I have copies.
one of you, yeah, it does, I mean,
Where is
Mr. Devereaux can take a look also, but if you could, that way we can move this along.
Sure.
Because I need it.
Yeah,
I need
let me,
Officer Murguido.
I should have a
I
copy.
think I've seen that.
Okay, yeah, here, why don't you take a look at it?
I've seen it. I think we should.
Hold on, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, okay.
Here. Why don't you give that one to him, and I have the same one.
All right, as long as we were agreeing it's the same. What I wanted him to do was review what's been marked as the exhibit, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You can
just,
do that.
here, take a look at that. Take a look at that.
I want you to read the entire document. Take a minute, word for word, read the entire document, and then he's going to ask you questions, including the narrative from you.
And then why don't you hold on to that while I'm questioning you? If you need to see it again, if you
Yeah.
don't have it.
Just for a question.
Yeah, well, I was gonna use that for my question.
Oh, well, never mind.
Okay,
Never mind.
okay. But if you wanna see it, I'll be happy to show it to you while we're going along.
You have to keep that copy when it's done.
Yeah, I'm waiting. What are we going to do as far as scheduling today?
Well, I figured as soon as I'm done with him, we'll do it. That was my idea.
All right.
Is that okay with you?
No, it's fine. I just didn't know how long this was.
I don't, no, why don't you hold on to this?
Oh, sure.
That way have you read it?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you first, have you seen this document before today?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall when you saw it? And where?
Yes.
Tell me.
Yesterday.
Okay. That was the first time you saw this? As far as you recall?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, you're familiar with these police reports, because I'm sure you've seen them before.
In general, yes.
Okay, all right. Now, according to this report, the original date reported, upper top left, second line, it says February 15th, 2013.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then if you turn to the second page, is that the date that you first talked to Detective Alvarez?
According to this, yes.
Okay. That would be approximately 3 or 4 months after the incident, the second incident with Dr. McDonough. Is that true?
According to this, yes.
Okay. Is there any reason to disbelieve what's in here?
Objection to form.
In terms of dates, I'm sorry, in terms of dates.
Objection to form.
Like I said, some of the dates or some of the events were documented improperly, but as far as I can recall, yes.
Okay. So why did you wait November, December, January to report to the Miami-Dade Police?
I'm glad you asked me that question.
Please.
I worked as an officer for many years. I've arrested countless people for serious crimes. Some have gone to prison. Never in my career has anybody shown up in my house to intimidate me, threaten, and harass me and my family. I didn't know what to do. I was sincerely afraid of what was going on. The department at Keno, at the beginning, wasn't on my side. The department always gives the public the benefit of the doubt. Then they ask you what happened. So, because of that, and because I honestly believed that it would stop, honestly believed that he would stop bothering me, and I prayed that he would, that's why.
If I understand correctly, you saw, according to what you said, you saw Aquino about 2 or 3 days after that incident.
Yes.
And he told you to file a report with Miami-Dade.
Yes.
And you followed what they tell you to do.
Yes.
Why'd you wait 3 months if they told you to file the report?
Again, I thought it would go away.
But
I don't want to deal with internal affairs, much less with Aquino, or anything like this, which I had never done in my whole career, working as an officer. I thought it would go away.
all right, so what precipitated you to go in February or whenever it was?
But at this point, for some reason, I don't know why, Aquino told me to file a report.
Yeah, but you told me, I don't mean to argue with you.
No, we're not arguing. I want you to understand it clearly,
Okay.
and I want to understand your questions
All
clearly,
right.
so please
You
go
told
ahead.
me he told you to file the report 2 or 3 days
Yes.
after the incident.
Mhm.
So what was it that waiting, I mean, you didn't do it for 3 months approximately.
That is true.
Why did you wait, and what precipitated you to do it when you did it if you didn't do it when he told you to?
I think I answered the why already,
Okay.
but the reason has to do where, by this time, if I recall correctly, McDonough was going to the station and complaining about me for everything. If I recall correctly, he complained that I went through his home or through his block, which I don't know to this day where he lives, and that I swear to God that I was in front of his house on my motorcycle with my license siren harassing him. So if I recall correctly, after he went there, Aquino told me that I had to go and file a complaint and get an injunction.
You told me on the first occasion that you met Dr. McDonough, you told him, if you have a problem, go complain, right?
Twice, yes.
And then he does it, and you had a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I did have a problem with the incident where he accused me of going through his home in a motorcycle. Would you like to know what the incident was?
Sure.
I was getting ready to go home, to leave my home to go on duty on my bike. There's this kid in the neighborhood who, his mother's a firefighter and lives west of me. He drives an ATV through my neighborhood like a nut. So for some reason, he decides to go in front of me as I'm getting ready in my uniform, in my police motorcycle, to Papa Willie. So I get in my motorcycle, and I try to stop him and neighborly, politely ask him to not do that. He didn't stop. He fled from me. Went across 202 Avenue to McDonough's neighborhood, which I don't know which is his house. About half a block or so on 324th Street, east of 202. I don't know if it still is, but there was an empty field. The ATV made a left, went through the empty field. Obviously, I couldn't go there through there on my motorcycle, so I hit my license siren to let him know that I was there. That continued east, made a left at the first corner, and went to work. Didn't know that he was recording me. Don't know where he lives. I still don't. I had nothing to do with him.
Are you finished? I don't need to.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So, if I understand correctly, what he reported was accurate. It just wasn't your intent to do anything with him because you didn't even know where he lived.
Well, I don't know what he reported. I haven't seen that.
Right, but that's what you said precipitated you to go to the police in February or March, whenever it was, because he made a report about you doing wheelies outside his house.
Objection to the floor.
Or am I right or wrong?
The way you stated it is incorrect.
Okay.
I didn't make a wheelie. He accused me of harassing him, intimidating, or whatever it was. I don't recall exactly. I don't have the paper.
Okay.
So, because of that incident with the ATV, nothing to do with him. Well, he does have the right at any time to go to IA and file a complaint on me or any officer, which he's done many times. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Now, if we want to turn to page 3 of, what is that, defense 1? I don't know what the number is. Defense 1.
Bottom right is 3 of 4.
Right. Bottom right is 3 or 4. The paragraph that starts at approximately 17:11 hours, which appears to be on April 9th of 13. Okay? Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay. The second line, Officer Murguido indicated that on July 27th, 2012, he arrived home in his unmarked police vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. You're describing the first incident to him, to the police. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where'd you get the date of July 27th?
I did not give the officer a date. I gave him an approximate date.
So how would he know to write down July 27th?
Objection to the floor.
You can answer.
You will have to ask him. I don't know. I gave him an approximate date.
Do you remember what you told him?
No, I don't recall.
So you're telling me, just so I understand, did you give him a range of dates? Or did you say it was approximately 7 months ago? I mean, do you remember what you said?
Objection to the floor.
You can answer.
I gave him an approximate date. I didn't give him an exact date.
And so he took it upon himself to write July 27th?
Objection to the floor.
Sir, you would have to ask him. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. The next date is October 29th. That would be the second incident. Any reason that that's not the correct date?
I don't know.
Okay. So you don't know the dates that, even today, you don't know the dates that it occurred?
I don't know the dates today because I haven't been shown any papers for the exact dates. There was a report on the first occasion, and there was a report on the second occasion. I haven't seen those.
Okay. If you turn to page 1, at the very top, where it says date, July 27th, 2012 at approximately 2200 hours. Where did he get that from?
Objection to the floor.
Do you know?
I don't know.
It says here, back on page 3, I'm sorry,
Okay.
that you provided a sworn statement, taped sworn statement. In other words, you were being recorded back on April 9th. Is that correct?
That's what it says here, yes.
Do you recall giving a recorded statement to Detective Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever listen to that recording?
Yes.
When did you listen to it?
Yesterday.
Okay. When you listened to it, do you recall saying the words July 27th, 2012?
I don't recall.
And you listened to it yesterday. Do you recall the tape recording, what you said about what date it occurred?
I don't recall because I was reading off the report that they gave me.
No, yesterday when you listened to the tape recording.
No, I don't recall what the date was or what
Okay.
it said. When I went through the to the county, they had a report and it was there. So I said the dates that I was looking at.
No, but you gave, we agree you gave a tape-recorded statement to the police,
Yes,
and we agree you listened to it yesterday.
yes.
And when you listened to it yesterday, do you recall what date you said the first incident occurred on?
I don't recall. Again, whatever date I gave, it's because of the paper that I was reading. Like if you're asking me something now and I read this date.
Okay, so if you gave them the date of July 27th, what piece of paper would you have been reading off to give them that date?
The date that they gave, the date was from a report that I was reading. I had a report that they had written.
Okay? Okay? Do you know what report was written? Who wrote that report?
Miami-Dade Police.
Okay. All right. You went and filed an injunction against Dr. McDonough. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. You've filed two injunctions against him, right? We're talking about the first one. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, am I correct? You filed two injunctions?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about the first one. You and I are going to talk about the first one.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to get you.
Confused?
No, not confused. I'm trying to make sure you're not confused, okay? Because you filed two injunctions, I'm going to talk to you about the first one, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall when you filed that?
I don't recall.
Okay. I've taken it apart, but I want to show you, why don't we have this marked as an exhibit? There's two parts, we'll put them together.
While she's marking that, I need to speak to the officer concerning a privilege matter. Step outside, please.
The time is 11:21, going up to video record. Stand by, please. Hey!
You dragged your...
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The time is 11:22, and we're back on the video record.
Why don't you review what's been made Defense Exhibit 2?
Read the whole thing.
Yeah, take a look at it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Okay, have you reviewed that?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, if we turn to, I don't know if it's on your last page or one of the pages. It has your signature on it?
Yes.
And it's dated, it has your signature, that is your signature, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it said it's dated 28th day of February, 2013?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me the procedure, if you recall, how you went about filing. This is at least part of the injunction you filed, correct?
I'm sorry?
This is the injunction you filed against Dr. McDonough, right?
Appears to be.
Okay. Tell me the procedure you went through for that. How did this come about? What did you do physically?
I went down to the courthouse on 211th Street with someone from SOS from our city.
What is SOS?
It's they help the citizens, the victims of domestic violence and things of that nature to get injunctions or with the court procedures.
Okay. Do you know what SOS stands for?
Something unsmart.
Okay.
I don't know the whole thing.
Do you remember, is that person a police officer or a citizen that you went with?
She's an employee from SOS, a citizen.
Okay. Do you know who that was?
Flor Arzuaga.
Can you spell the last name? Do you know how to spell the last name?
Flor, and the last name is Arzugua, I believe.
Okay. Since she's not here, we can't ask her like that. Okay. How did you get in contact with her?
Commander Aquino put me in contact with her.
Okay. How did she help you prepare this injunction? Or just help you get through the process?
She went with me down there to go through the process.
Okay. The portion where you allege whatever happened between you and Dr. McDonough is typed out. How did that get typed out?
I have to see an employee there at that office.
Which office? I'm sorry, SOS or the...
No, the office for the injunctions.
At the courthouse?
At the courthouse.
Okay.
And I get interviewed by one of their employees.
And they're the ones that type it up?
Yes.
Okay. And they type up what you tell them, I presume. They don't know anything about the case until you tell them, right?
Yes.
Okay. And after it's typed up, how do you go about signing it? What's the procedure? What happens?
I signed it and trust that they wrote what I told them.
Okay. Well, can I presume, or would I presume you wouldn't sign what they didn't write down? Would that be true?
Objection to the form.
I'm sorry, what?
Let me go over it again. You're telling that employee and them typing it up occurred on the same day, right?
Yes.
Okay. You tell them, they type it up, you look at it, you sign it, right?
Yes.
Okay. I presume you wouldn't sign it unless it was accurate as to what you told them.
Objection to the form.
Am I right?
No, I would sign it.
You'd sign it even if it was inaccurate?
Sure.
Why?
I trust him.
So did you read this?
I don't recall.
You don't recall if you read this and signed it after you read it?
I
Objection
signed
to
it,
Okay.
but I don't recall if I read it. The
Really?
whole thing. Really?
Objection to form.
Okay. Why don't we go to where your signature is? That page?
Mm-hmm.
The last paragraph in bold letters, it says, "I understand the statements in this petition are being made under penalty of perjury." And you wouldn't read it first?
What can I tell you? I trust people.
You're a very trustworthy soul.
That's why I'm here.
All right. It says here, the first incident occurred in June of 2012. It's actually the second paragraph. Let's go back to the page where the description is. Do you need to do something?
Yeah, pardon me. This paper is stopping him from being heard. So, you speak there.
Okay.
We good now? Can you hear
Can we go forward? All right. The second paragraph of what you said occurred. You see that? It says in June of 2012. You see that?
Mhm.
Where did they get that date?
From the report that I was reading.
What report did you read that said June of 2012?
The one from the county.
Where would they get the date of 2012 to write that report? June. That's the first, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to stop you.
I read it to them from the paper that I was reading.
Okay. Do you recall which report it was? Tell you what, why don't you have this marked? And then show it to Mr. Stetton. And why don't you take a look at the report?
Read Exhibit 3.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Okay?
Yes.
Have you read it? Do you recognize that report?
Yes.
Is that the report that you're referring to when you said, I got it from the report, June of 2012 date?
I don't recall.
Okay. As you can see on Defense Exhibit 3, this is a report written by Officer Marti. Do you remember speaking to him?
I spoke to a Miami-Dade officer. I don't recall his
Okay.
name.
And this Defense Exhibit 3 reflects the incident that occurred the first time. Is that right?
Yes.
And if you look at the top second series of lines, date 7/27/2012,
Yes.
do you know where they got that?
No.
Could they have gotten that from you?
No.
Why not?
I gave them general dates.
Okay. Going back to the injunction, which I think is Defense Exhibit 2, where it says in June of 2012, that paragraph? No, that's not the injunction. The other document. That one.
Okay.
Yeah. You see the, no, right on the front, right on the front. You see the paragraph that starts June 2012?
Yes.
All right. Does that accurately reflect, putting aside the date for the moment, does that accurately reflect the incident that occurred between you and Dr. McDonough the first time you two met?
I guess so, yes.
I don't mean to be particular. Is that accurate or inaccurate? And let me add, if it's inaccurate, tell me where it is inaccurate. And if you feel it's incomplete, tell me where you think it's incomplete.
Objection to the form.
You can answer.
Well, again, they have a general idea as I gave it to them, but from what I see in several of the papers, they probably documented it. And here, it seems like exact to me, but I'm not going to swear on a Bible on it.
Well, if I may say, you put your signature on it and swore under penalty of perjury, so I guess that's the same as swearing under a Bible.
Objection to the form.
Is there anything inaccurate about that?
About the Bible? No,
No,
nothing
about
whatsoever.
about
Nothing
this
whatsoever.
statement.
Oh, okay, no.
Okay, fair enough. So where'd they get the date of June 2012?
I think I answered that before. I
Well,
told you about
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
let me ask you this. The person who wrote this down, who
Right.
typed it up, the only way she could have gotten this information is from you, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
So you had to have told her it was June of 2012, right?
Rejection of the form.
Yes.
Okay. And you're telling me you got that from a report somewhere, correct?
Yes.
All right. Even though Defense Exhibit 3 I showed you says it was July 27th, correct?
That's what it says.
Okay. Where would they have gotten that?
Rejection of form.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's go to the first paragraph on that. The one that starts with about December 22nd, that one?
Okay.
Have you read that?
Yes.
That describes the second incident with Dr. McDonough, correct?
Yes.
All right. Is that accurate?
Pretty much, yes.
When you say pretty much, that means there might be something inaccurate or something left out. A, is there anything inaccurate or anything left out?
Pretty much.
I'm sorry? Did you object?
I did.
Okay, you can answer.
Pretty much. I would have to compare them to all the other statements. You want me to do that?
No. I want to compare it to what your recollection of that incident is, not the other statements. Just tell me, do you believe that's an accurate reflection of what happened that day?
Pretty much.
Okay. Is there anything inaccurate about it? In other words, is there something wrong there?
Not that I can see at this
Okay.
time.
Is there something that is left out of that statement about your contact with Dr. McDonough that day?
Not that I can see
Okay.
on this paper.
As you can see, the paragraph begins on or about December 22nd, 2012. Where did they get that date?
I don't know.
Well, would it be fair to say you had to have given it to him?
It would be fair to say for the third time, yes.
Where did you get that date from?
For the third time, from a paper that I was reading from the county.
What paper is that?
I don't recall.
All right, because let me show you an incident report dated 10/29/12 from the city of Homestead. I have that marked. It's Defense Exhibit 4. Take a look. You're prepared.
Read the entire document, including all the attachments, times and dates.
Have you looked at that?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that document before, to your recollection?
I don't recall.
All right. So when you're talking about the document that you got the December date off of, that couldn't be it, could it? Because you said you never saw it before.
Objection of form.
I don't know.
All right. Because on the top of the document, it says the incident occurred on October 29th of 2012. So you couldn't have gotten the December date from that document, could you have?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Now, let's go back to exhibit, I'm sorry, I don't know what exhibit it is. Maybe that one, the one with the blacked out. Can you just tell me what exhibit number that is on the bottom?
4?
Okay, exhibit number 4. If we turn to page 3 again,
Wait a minute.
he said 4,
All right.
right?
This is Exhibit 1.
Oh, he said
Which document you want?
1.
It looks like a 4.
One is
My bad.
the county's OI
Right,
report.
that's the one I wanted. He said it was 4. I'm
I
sorry.
thought it looked like a...
All right, that's fine. No, we've got to correct it. Document 1. Look at page 3 of 4.
Okay.
All right, and it says on April 9th, 2013. You see where it says that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then there's a paragraph after that. You see that? It says at approximately 1711 hours.
Uh-huh.
All right, so what that means is, would you agree that on April 9th, 2013, you gave a sworn statement to Detective Alvarez, correct?
According to this, yes.
All right. Any reason to believe that's inaccurate? That date or time?
No.
Okay. And if you go about halfway down, you see the words on October 29th, 2012?
Yes.
All right. Do you know where that date came from? Who gave them that date?
I don't recall.
Okay. You said you recalled listening to the tape recording yesterday that this came from. Do you recall hearing you say it occurred on October 29th?
I don't recall.
Okay. Going back to the injunction filed signed February 28th, you would have had to tell them the date of December 22nd, correct? 2012.
I said that, yes, before.
Okay.
4 times?
Right. So, and you're saying you got that date from a report. I mean, you didn't make up the date, right?
I gave estimate dates. On that report, I got it from a report.
Right. But this doesn't say on or about, I mean, well, it does say on or about December 22nd, but it doesn't have a range. But you told them December 22nd.
Objection to the form.
Yes.
Okay. And do you know who authored the report that you got this off of? Or what department it was from?
No.
Yet when you went to speak to Detective Alvarez a month and a half later, you told them it occurred on October 29th. Where did you get that date?
I don't recall.
When the injunction was set for trial, did you appear at the trial?
Which one?
The first injunction, I'm sorry.
No.
Why not?
I didn't have an attorney.
Why not?
I can't afford one.
Then why did you file the injunction?
Objection asked and answered 3 times. He said because Commander
All right.
Aquino instructed him to.
Right. You knew that the case would be set for trial, right?
Yes.
You knew that when you filed it. They told you the procedure.
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell them I can't afford an attorney, don't bother?
No.
Did they tell you you could proceed without an attorney? That an attorney was not required for one of these hearings?
Objection to the form compound.
I don't recall.
Okay. When you were asked to give a deposition in that first, I'm sorry, for the first injunction, you were subpoenaed for a deposition?
I received a couple of letters at home. I don't recall what they were.
Okay. Did you appear for a deposition in that case? The first one.
No.
Why not?
You're talking about the injunction.
Yes, the first injunction. Yes.
Okay, the injunction on the court?
You filed an injunction. Dr. McDonough hired a lawyer. Is that correct? Do you know that?
I don't know.
Were you asked to come for a deposition?
By whom?
By Dr. McDonough's attorney, a man by the name of Craig Weisberg.
I don't recall.
Did you appear for a deposition?
No.
All right. You filed a second injunction against Dr. McDonough, is that right?
Yes.
Did you appear for the trial in that case?
No.
Why not?
I had an attorney.
I'm sorry?
I had an attorney
Okay.
that was going to do appear for me pro bono. And I went to his office. I gave him all the paperwork.
Let me just caution you, any conversations between you and the attorney would be protected
Right.
by
You don't have to tell me anything you and the attorney talked about,
Right.
okay? So I don't want to know that. You're welcome to, but you don't have to tell me.
Okay, I had an attorney.
Okay.
The attorney was supposed to go.
Who was the attorney?
I don't recall his name.
Okay. Do you know how the case was going to proceed to a hearing if you didn't come and testify as to what happened? Do you understand my question? In other words, how would there be any evidence of what occurred unless you appeared? Do you know?
I don't know.
So you're telling me that upon advice of counsel, because you thought you had a lawyer, you didn't have to appear? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what he said, yes.
Okay. Between the filing of the first injunction and the filing of the second injunction, did Dr. McDonough do anything to you that caused you to have any fear? Or say anything to you?
Before the first and the second.
Between the
injunction.
first and the second. We've already talked about what happened to cause you to file the first. Now you file a second injunction. Did Dr. McDonough do anything to you, say anything to you, that would cause you to have fear to cause you to file a second injunction?
Objection to the floor.
I don't recall the exact date, but he posted pictures of my home address, my cars, and my tag numbers online, but I don't recall the exact date for that.
Okay.
So
But-
yes, I was in fear.
All right. But you recall it was in between the first and the second?
I don't recall the dates.
Okay. Okay. Did anyone advise you to file the second injunction or order you to file the second injunction?
Objection to the floor.
Yes.
Who was that?
Commander Aquino.
Okay. Tell me the conversation you had with Aquino that A, brought this second one to, that brought this to his attention to ask you to file a second one.
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall what you told Aquino was the problem that he wanted you to file the injunction again?
I don't recall if it was me that was having a problem or that McDonough was going to the station and recording the chief and complaining about everything. I don't recall.
Okay. Hold on one second. In between the first and the second injunction, do you recall whether Dr. McDonough was arrested for the actions back on October 29th of 2012?
I don't recall when he was arrested.
Okay. Let me show you a copy of an arrest affidavit. Why don't we have that marked? What are we at, number 5?
We are. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, have you ever seen that arrest form before?
No.
Okay. What date does it say the arrest occurred on? Does it show?
27th of July of...
No, that's the date of the incident, the date of the arrest.
Oh.
Doesn't it say April 15th, 2013?
I don't see it.
Here, if you want me to, I'll point it out.
Sure.
See where my finger is?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, yes, 4/15 of
Right,
2013.
and the case resolved itself by Dr. McDonough going into a pretrial intervention program, right? You don't know?
I don't know.
You weren't talked to about it? You weren't asked about it? The state attorney never told you?
No, the state attorney never told me.
Okay.
Aquino did, now I remember Aquino did mention that McDonough had taken PTI.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When you spoke to Aquino and he recommended the second injunction, did you tell him you never showed up for the first injunction?
Yes.
What did he say about that?
He was, he gave me some corrective training.
What was the corrective training?
I don't recall, but it wasn't nice.
Well, I presume you'd remember something if the commander wasn't nice to you.
Commander is gone. I don't even remember him.
Aquino's gone? He doesn't work there anymore?
No, sir.
Where does he work?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. When you said you had somebody from SOS helping you, a civilian,
Yes.
that for the first injunction,
Yes.
did you guys talk about whether or not you had a lawyer?
I don't recall.
Did you guys talk about whether you needed an attorney to pursue this particular injunction?
I don't recall.
You don't recall any conversation about that?
A long time ago.
When you filed the injunction, had you talked to an attorney about potentially representing you before you filed it?
Objection to the form. Which injunction?
The first injunction. We're talking first injunction unless I say otherwise right now.
Yes.
Now I forgot the question.
If I had talked to an attorney.
Right, you did. I presume they were unable to represent you, whoever it was?
Yes.
Okay. But you proceeded with that injunction even though you didn't have an attorney?
I understand.
All right. Before you filed the injunction, you talked to somebody about representing you, right?
Not before, after.
After.
Yes.
Okay. So before you filed the injunction, did you talk to anybody about whether you need an attorney, or did you talk to an attorney about potentially representing you before you filed it?
Objection to the form. Compound.
If you can answer.
I don't recall.
Okay. But after you filed the injunction, you did talk to an attorney, and for whatever reason, they chose not to represent you.
I believe so.
Okay.
Not to an attorney personally, but through the police union. There's two police unions that I tried to get some legal help.
All right.
But,
So you never actually talked to an attorney per se?
for the first one, no.
Okay.
No.
So who did you talk to at the police union? Do you remember?
I don't remember who, but I called, there's a number that you call for assistance, whatever that number is, and I called and tried to get an attorney, and they wouldn't.
When you say they wouldn't, what do you mean? I mean, did they say
said
we're-
no.
Okay. Did you know that you were not going to proceed with that injunction unless you had an attorney?
No,
At what point did you decide, because you told me you didn't appear because you didn't have an attorney.
right?
At what point did you decide, I'm not bothering with this because I don't have an attorney?
At the point that I realized I couldn't get an attorney, and I had hopes, false hopes that McDonough would stop. Figured that if I escalated with this, he'd keep escalating. So if I stopped, maybe,
That would sort of end things?
I thought, I was hoping.
Well, did you know the police were going to go and arrest him for this?
I didn't ask them to arrest him,
Well, you filed a police report.
but I didn't ask them to arrest him. I filed a police report because I was ordered to. I didn't say go and arrest him or charge him with this or that. I didn't do that.
What did you think they were going to, did you tell them not to?
I didn't tell them to.
That's not what I asked you. Did you tell them not to?
No, they didn't ask me.
Well, when you file a police report alleging corruption against a public servant or whatever and trespass, did you think they were going to ignore it?
Objection. That's not what he said.
I understand that's not what he
You
said.
put words in his mouth.
Well, I don't think I did, but I'll try to rephrase it. When you went and filed the report, what did you think was going to happen?
I thought he was going to stop bothering me.
How? By filing the report, what would the police do with the report to make him stop?
Speak to him, tell him to stop, advise him, send him to a psychologist, I don't know, something.
Well-
I didn't tell him to arrest him.
I understand. Did you tell them not to arrest him?
Objection asked and answered.
I never told him to do anything. I filed a report like I was ordered to do, and I wanted to in the hopes that he would leave me alone.
The only way he would leave you alone is if he knew you filed a report against him, right?
Objection to the form calls for speculation.
Can you rephrase that question?
Sure. The filing of the report, you hoped, would get him to stop doing whatever he's doing to you, correct?
That's what I hoped.
Right. But how would he know you filed a report?
Objection to the form calls for speculation.
Did you tell him?
No,
All right. So someone from the police would have to tell him, right?
I guess.
Okay. Did you ask the police to go talk to him about this, to make him stop?
I don't recall that.
Well, if you wanted him to stop, wouldn't that be a logical thing to do?
Well, that's what I would have done, and that's what I've done many times in
Right.
cases similar to this. I don't know what, I can tell the county what to do.
Well,
You're
you're
not
the,
Homestead.
you're the victim of the crime. You can tell the police anything you want. Whether they listen to you, that's up to them. But you can tell them anything you want, can't you?
Sure.
All right. Did you tell them, please go speak to him and tell him to leave me alone?
Objection asked and answered about.
I don't think he
times.
answered that.
No. But I didn't tell him to arrest him.
I understand. I got that. That's pretty clear. Okay. According to this report, and I'm sorry again, I think document number 1, the one you thought said 4.
Yes. Okay.
According to this report, the last contact you had with the police in terms of their investigation was on April 9th of 2013. Is that correct? According to the report.
According to the report?
Right.
Yes.
Do you recall if you had any further contact with the police after that date concerning this case?
I don't recall.
When Dr. McDonough's case was up for trial, didn't you show up in court?
Which trial?
The trial in this case?
Talking about the criminal case?
Yeah, the criminal case. I'm sorry. You're right. Didn't you show up in court?
I wasn't subpoenaed.
I saw you there. Weren't you there?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
All right. So weren't you there when it was told he was going to PTI?
I don't recall that.
All right.
This was a long time ago.
I understand.
I'm sorry. I don't recall every.
I understand. I understand. Can we just have a minute?
Time is 11:59,
Just a minute.
and we're going off the video record. Stand by, please.
Good.
Please stand by.
I'm almost done.
Aye.
Then we'll take 5, and then I'll do your client.
Yeah, my boss said
Yeah, I'm
he's
gonna go
killing me.
get a cup of
You need a
coffee
bathroom
at
break?
some point.
Yes, I.
Yeah, take a bathroom. I'm just going to talk.
The time is 19 after 12, and we're back in the video record.
All right, Officer Murguido, I took a break to figure out if I have any more questions for you. So the only question I have for you is, during the break, and I don't know if you talked to your lawyer or not, I don't want to know that, is there any answers to my questions or any answers you gave that you think you might want to correct now, or that were different, or something you want to explain that you haven't had an opportunity to explain?
Objection to the form. He's also going to exercise his right to read the transcript, and if there's an errata sheet, we'll let you know.
Right, I understand, but I'm giving him an opportunity now if there's something else he wants to say. I understand. Is there anything else, any corrections you want to make about what you said or anything like that?
Not at this time.
Okay, in that case, I don't have any more questions. Mr. Stetton.
Officer Murguido, the attorney for the plaintiff was asking you specific questions about certain dates that are in some of the documents that he provided to you. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Fair to say that you would need to review records and jog your recollection to accurately respond to any question about a specific time and date when something happened.
Yes.
Your witness.
Mr. Gabriel, any questions? All right. Your attorney will tell you, you have the right to read.
You'll read it.
So, yeah, you'll read.
Yes.
All
The
right.
time is 20 after 12, and this concludes the videotape deposition of Mr. Alejandro Murguido.
All right, Officer Gomez, you're up.
And we're off.